Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of your D&D Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video we're going to be looking back on 2023 for the Walking Dead fans, the Walking Dead franchise, and go over what we thought of the Walking Dead this year. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead, and in today's video we're going to be doing a Walking Dead universe video for today. This one is the very first of its kind. This is one that I want to start doing every year for The Walking Dead universe. Now that the main show is done, been over now, it's been about a year now since the main show has been over, I used to just do videos where I would look back on the main show, throughout that year and kind of just look back on, what I thought of it and all that stuff. But we've made it to the end of 2023 just about here in a few weeks. And Walking Dead universe is now starting to wind down. Pretty much the only thing now that we would really be getting for it is like maybe a Ones Who Live teaser or something like that. But actual Walking Dead media, actual Walking Dead stuff, to be released and all this stuff is done. Walking Dead is done this year. So I figured this is something we'll start doing every year, which is now that The Walking Dead has moved away from just being a main show with a few spin-offs to just being simply a franchise with a bunch of different shows and a bunch of different things. I figured that this is a good idea to start this kind of, yearly thing where every year when The Walking Dead universe, kind of concludes, we'll go through everything that they provided for us this year and everything Walking Dead related that we saw. So this year for Walking Dead, what did I think about it in terms of all the entertainment we got? It was a pretty good year, is what I'd say about it. It was a pretty good year. I would love to say it was a great year, but unfortunately, there were some things this year that were not great as well, too. But there were also a lot of really good shows this year and a lot of really good things as well. So we're going to highlight kind of that as well. But it's a pretty good year for Walking Dead, although there definitely are some issues. So let's go through what we had this year for Walking Dead. Starting off, it started in May. We didn't really have too much Walking Dead stuff at all, really, in, the first, few months. We took a major hiatus after the main show. We took a major break. We had, just the build up to Fear the Walking Dead's final season, and that was pretty much it. And, well, let's talk about that first. So, we had Season 8A. So, 8A of Fear the Walking Dead. This half was very wishy-washy, mostly not that good at all. You had Morgan's exit, which I thought was pretty well done, seeing the death of his son Dwayne and him putting down his, Walker son. You had a few things. You had, him going to look for Rick, which I thought was pretty good. You had a few moments, but, I mean, for the most part, it wasn't good. You had Padre, which was a terrible villain group, led by Shrike and Crane. You also had, of course, some episodes where you had, Grace that was bit, and then, they were trying to get her there to, cure a Walker infection, which is just so friggin' stupid. Such a dumb concept. I don't even understand it. Everybody was split up, everybody was in different episodes. Everybody was, doing different things. And yeah, the half season just was not good, especially for a first half of a final season. I don't think it did anything justice. I really don't. I think some of the stuff with Morgan was all right, but I think that's about where it ends, to be honest. I don't think there's much going for that half. So that was not a good start for Walking Dead this year. Not at all. Then we had Dead City Season 1. Now, this was phenomenal. I don't care what anybody says, this was phenomenal. For some reason, Dead City gets hate these days, and I'll never understand. People say, oh, because Daryl's good, Dead City's not any good. I don't understand that. Dead City, in my opinion at least, was damn near flawless. The only thing I didn't like about it is I felt like Tommaso's group was a little butchered in episode 5. Besides that, I absolutely love season 1. I love the conflict between Maggie and Negan because here's the thing, and I say this all the time, you have to establish their relationship, their, beef with each other in their own spinoff before you can move on, right? That's why they had them bicker in the first season. I stick up for it because you have to establish what their conflict is in their own spinoff. That's just something you have to do. If you don't do that, you're not going to know, Plus, they're trying to set up these spinoffs as a good jumping point to people that want to watch Walking Dead, but they don't want to have to sit through 11 seasons of the main show. They just want to start watching Walking Dead so they can start watching these spinoffs, right? Kind of a dumb way of doing it, but that's what they're going about, and that's how they're doing it, right? So it makes sense that you want to establish the conflict between Negan and Maggie. Not to mention, you have amazing lore with the Saviors, with Simon's, quick cameo. You've got the Croat, who is a really entertaining villain. I really, really like him a lot. You've got the Dama, who's pretty creepy as well, like cutting off Herschel's toe and stuff. You've got Pearly Armstrong, who's like a marshal, which I thought was amazing. I loved what they did with him. He kind of turns good guy after a little bit, which I also thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, it was really good. A lot of really great visuals. New York City, something that we never saw in the Walking Dead universe. I overall, I really, really liked it. I really, really liked Dead City. I think that's a show that admittedly can go on for a few more at least, and I think it could be pretty good. A few more seasons, I definitely think so. 3 to 4 seasons, I think that'd be pretty awesome. Now after that, we took a little bit of a hiatus. We had a few months off. Then we came back swinging with Daryl Dixon. So Daryl Dixon, what did I think of this one? Well, in my opinion, this is the best product of the Walking Dead universe this year. I loved it. I loved every freaking bit of it. I absolutely did. Daryl Dixon was so good. I mean, it was so good. You had France, which was a very unique, setting in the Walking Dead universe. You had scarier walkers than I've ever seen, honestly. These walkers were terrifying, especially in that arena when Daryl had to fight them like the way he did. You had great characters that introduced, like Isabel. I thought she instantly connected with the viewers. I thought she was amazing. Laurent is a really cool kid. I thought he was really, really fun to watch. You had Quinn, who was a really fun kind of like, I don't know if he's good or bad type of character. You had Madame Jeanette and her crew with Codon and everything. Thought that was awesome. You had great visuals, great setting, great music. Some of the best Daryl stuff I've ever seen, like some of the most brutal Daryl scenes I've ever seen, the most like heartwarming Daryl scenes I've ever seen. Great lore on the character about like his grandfather and stuff like that. Honestly, loved it. And the cherry on top is that Carol came back at the end of the season. So to me, this was the best product of the Walking Dead universe this year. This was outstanding. I loved it. I thought they did a great job with it. I honestly was not sure about this show when it first was pitched to me, and I remember doing videos earlier this year saying like, man, I don't know about this show. I just don't know if it's going to be any good. And well, here it is, the best Walking Dead thing this whole year. So I will admit when I'm wrong, that was a moment I was wrong. I judged it too poorly. Although, I will still say this, as amazing as the show is, they promoted this show like crap. The trailers looked awful in comparison to how good the show was. So I halfway don't blame myself fully, but, I mean, it is what it is. It's a really great show. Honestly, Daryl Dixon, season 1, I was blown away by it. I really was. In terms of like where my expectations were and then what we actually got, I mean, it was insane. But yeah, that's Daryl Dixon season 1. Now we also have Clementine Lives, book 2. Now, I didn't read this, so I'm going to make this pretty quick. I didn't read this for a good few reasons. You can go ahead and watch my video on it if you want to hear more details on why I didn't actually read through it. I didn't read it for the simple reason that it's offensively terrible. It's offensively terrible. I looked over some of it. I did look over a decent amount of it, and it does not look good at all. It looks worse than the first one, which I did read. I did read the first one. The second one, I refuse to review it. I refuse to do anything with it. Again, watch the video if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts. But that right there, hands down, is the worst piece of Walking Dead media this year. That was absolutely horrible, the Clementine comic books. At least based off of what I saw, horrible. Absolutely horrible. And then, of course, we also had this year, which I thought was just, I mean, this was an embarrassment, if you ask me. To gaming, this was an embarrassment. The Walking Dead Destinies. I don't even understand what the hell just happened with this one. I really don't. Like, they promoted this for like 2-3 months max, and then it came out and it was horrendous. The graphics are some of the worst graphics of any game I've ever seen. Like, honestly, I could show you friggin' an old, like, early 2000s game, and that would look better than whatever the hell this crap was. This looked awful. Not to mention, the story, here's the thing, man. There's some cool what-if scenarios, like what if Shane killed Rick, and what if things went the opposite way. There are definitely some cool concepts in there, and I will acknowledge that. That's why I do think that this is at least better than the Clementine comic books, because there is more to it. But they axe a whole bunch of characters. There's a whole bunch of characters from the show that are not there. They try to do like literally, I think it's like 4 seasons worth of content within like 3.5, 4 hours. Like it doesn't work. They cut out a whole bunch of crap. Very schemed over. Very just badly done. The voice acting was terrible. The cutscenes were like freeze frame shots of like the governor cutting off Herschel's head or whoever's head, because it changes every 2 seconds. But it's like the governor's about to cut off someone's head and it's like, uh, slice, like, it's so stupid. Like, they don't even actually move like a normal video game. It's so dumb. So, yeah, this one was horrible. This one was absolutely terrible. And then finally, we had Fear the Walking Dead that returned with 8B. And it was I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. I can't believe that's how they left Walking Dead universe this year. I really can't. But we had, of course, the return of Troy Otto, which I thought they butchered. I thought they did not do a good job on him at all. His returning scene was pretty good, but then I found after that it started to get really weird. You had the Dwight and Sherry Sanctuary episode, which I know for a lot of people just did not really work out. The death of Charlie, which I think is like one of the redeeming things of this half, is her death. I thought that was pretty good. But then you had Tracy Otto, and then you had like the Padre crap, and you had Russell. It just, oh man, it was not good. And then here's the thing. I mean, Alicia came back in the final episode. I will give some credit there for sure, but it doesn't save this just dumpster fire of a final season. It doesn't. So in my book, at least, Fear was a dumpster fire. I mean, honestly, for the most part, besides, like, what, 3 scenes? Like, Morgan puts the sun down, Morgan goes to look for Rick, and Alicia returns. I mean, besides that, like, you're looking at mediocrity or just terrible stuff overall, which for the most part is terrible. So, yeah. So, Walking Dead universe for 2023. How do we feel about it? So, I thought it was a pretty good year because, and I still will say that because Dead City I loved and Daryl Dixon I loved, you know, and I haven't read fully the Clementine comic book. Maybe if I did, then my tune would change a little bit. But you had 2 amazing Walking Dead spinoffs this year with amazing budget, amazing story, amazing acting, great stuff overall. And then on the flip side, you had a terrible final season of Fear the Walking Dead. You had a terrible Walking Dead video game. And a pretty terrible Clementine book. So, okay, so pretty decent to good year, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd probably give Walking Dead universe this year like a, I don't know, maybe like a 6.5, you know what I mean? Which I know is still kind of low, but you also have to consider the fact that Fear had a really bad final season, and you also have to consider the fact that they butchered Clementine again this year, and you have to consider the fact that we had a What If game, which looked absolutely horrendous this year. But you still had 2 really great spinoffs and 2 really great shows. So, you know, like I said, I'm comfortable with 6.5. I'm comfortable with that. Maybe a 7 at most, you know what I'm saying? But, like, that's pushing it. But there's 3 bad things and 2 good things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm more comfortable with, like, a 6.5. So, yeah, there you go. So, let me know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of the Walking Dead universe this year? How was it for you? How was the Walking Dead content? Rate all the Walking Dead things that came out this year, and let me know in the comment section below. So, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos of The Walking Dead. Be sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos of The Walking Dead. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.